Hello! I'm KP Studios, and I create whatever I want to create. In this case, I'll be drawing with a twist. Now, I can safely say that artists have had a point in their life where drawing isn't fun. Sometimes it lasts a few hours, maybe even days or weeks. Sometimes it happens a lot more often to others, which has happened to me this past month. Every drawing I made just felt more like an obligation rather than expressing my love for something. But this time, I'm gonna change it with a game.
Everybody likes games.
What was that? Oh, it's Coraline! Of course it's gonna be Coraline related. I love that fandom to death. Can't say the same for the author. Now, to make this interesting, I've created a wheel that has some ideas. Some are AUs, some are personal takes, some are crossovers, and one extra, just for fun. I've also created a random number generator on the timeline, before, during, or after. The characters, though, I'll focus more on the protagonists and the secondary characters. I've drawn too much of the other mother and... Oh, who am I kidding? I'll do them all. I'll also include some lore to make this more interesting than just drawings. Alrighty, now that we've set up the rules on this fun activity, let's spin that wheel! Okay, now I know what you're thinking. An actor AU? How can you create an actor AU about a story that's pretty grim? Or, yeah, everybody has made an actor AU about a fandom. Which, shush, this is different. How I'm going to mix the movie with the AU is simple. Now, this is kind of canon with the character spotlight for the 2009 Oscar Academy Award and a lot of the advertising banners and whatnot, but for this AU, I'll make it canon. I knew exactly what I was going to do with some of the characters. Coraline, Wybie, and Mel do more acting down the line. I've also made Mel and the other mother the same actor cause they're both voiced by the same gal. The beldam isn't real, she can't hurt you, she's just CGI. So with the cat and his speaking parts, but he's real alright. He can hurt you. The other characters were a bit iffy to figure out. Miss Spink and Forcible went back to performing their sitcom, Mr. Bobinski dipped, and Charlie went back to performing at his band and made more songs along the way. He was too busy making music to be part of the drawing. There were a lot of other actors too. Some of them played as the other counterparts for the characters, such as the other Spink and Forcible. The ghost children were real ghosts that haunted the Pink Palace, and so was the other world. Parts of the world had to be CGI, like the scene of it crumbling apart, and some props had to be made for the other garden. Oh, I've also added the piano as an actor. She's proud of her acting in that movie, but she hasn't done any more acting since because she's being auctioned. Yes, Coraline would dye her strands pink because it's a trend. Actually, she didn't dye her hair blue for the movie. She had that long before and after shooting the movie. Now, it's an iconic style for Coraline, but she didn't go with the blue hair again because it doesn't fit her. Alright, now I hope you know what Gravity Falls is. A non-existent place in Oregon that has a lot of weird stuff in it that was almost obliterated by some godlike creature that created Armageddon in its weird way. Oh, I guess it was also a show by Alex Hirsch about the same thing, but that's not the point. Having this before the movie really got my creative blood flowing, and I immediately dived in. I started working on a fake journal page that Ford would make. Originally, the door was another one of those cursed doors, but this one was special to compete against the other doors. Ford found it somewhere in his research lab, the door being too small for him to fit, and found it odd since it wasn't there before. He started to document the door when he found a doll that looked alike to him that was near the door. He started hearing things through it, but he didn't explore it, and eventually it left after he permanently removed the doll. He doesn't encourage the reader to go through it, since it is related to the cursed doors that he kept seeing. Ignore the scribbles I added to imitate text. I didn't know what to write or how to write it. Guess what I've also added? Bill, of course.
Finally, after all these years, Bill Cipher has a gun.
He's seen her a long time ago, but he didn't see her after that first interaction to really remember her. It wasn't that interesting to begin with, but he did make it interesting when he encouraged her to move somewhere out of Gravity Falls to find something else. So she did just that, and Bill got a kick out of it for sure. Of course, Bill and Ford wouldn't have included that page or interaction since it didn't seem to be that interesting, and only fandoms can have references and cameos, but not a crossover. Very unfortunate. Also, pardon how off I get the dialogue. Having dialogue in character is not my forte. Now, I mean rewritten as, what if the movie was closer to the book redesign? Now, I would translate the characters in the book to the movie, but I have no clue what the characters look like, even if I had a few illustrations sprinkled in the story. I know I put it here somewhere. Nope. Not that. Nuh-uh. Oh, got it! We're gonna use the graphic novels designs instead. So I had a bit of a hard time trying to figure out what the characters would look like, but I had a few ideas. Coraline at the garden party would end up cutting her hair to reference the movie's design, and also the book's description, I think? I really didn't have to do much with Mel's design. It's funny how Mel in the movie and the graphic novel look almost alike. The cat still knows that the beldam is still alive, although not very long. It would take her at least a decade or less to be dead, and besides, he's a magical cat. Coraline would wake up with her parents, covered in the snow from the now broken snow globe. "What's gotten into you, Coraline?" Mel would ask while Coraline is trying to explain about the other world and the beldam. She didn't end up using the tea party method, she just wanted to get rid of the key. She had a bit of a struggle, but she was able to remove the key and the hand. Speaking of, I really wish I could design the beldam, but I must have my attention on the other characters. I didn't add Wybie to it since I don't know what he'd look like without standing out too much. Update! Looking back on this now, I didn't have much to go over, so I'm going to do a take 2 of this. This time, their redesign will be closer to the concept art. So, searching for some references that I can use for the characters, there wasn't much to really go off of, even the ones that were iffy. In this version, Coraline used the fake tea party method, with Wybie helping with it. Of course, the ending is the garden party, and Coraline falling asleep to the mice performing upstairs by her neighbor that she finally got the name of. Wybie didn't end up showing Coraline the photo of Miss Lovett's twin sister. It's good for theories in an alternate universe. This version of the Rewritten actually works. I bet the old drafts of the movie were pretty close to the book, if we'll ever get a chance to see one. This one is also unfortunately short, real bummer, but you don't have to do much work when it comes to an after. Oh well. Alright, now this one I'm excited about. It's a classic in the Coraline community. YB being Coraline, Coraline being YB, and people even made an entire AU about a bad ending. But I'm on about that. I want to take this on a different approach. For this, I'll hit him with the old Beldam way and make an other counterpart. So, with some stuff swapped, I kept the character roles, but changed the rest of the stuff, such as the plot. Coraline, along with her family and friends, live in an isolated pocket dimension where they can create whatever they want with joy. They like it with their world kept away from people wanting to get their hands on God mode, which for us is basically Minecraft creative mode. It's a private server, so leave them alone. But not this gal. This gal wants all of their power to herself. Heck, even the pocket dimension itself. Coraline is having none of that, seeing through what this woman, I still don't know what to name her, is trying to play. Both of their traits bleed through one another, with the Beldam's more explorative naivete and Coraline's more cunning deception, while still having their old traits, though not as strong as they were in the original. In the end, when Coraline is one of the last standing, she banished the Beldam in the spot where the current well resides in our world, and removed her memory of the place and her greediness for power. Not really much to say here with the plot. This is more of a summary of the plot, but I bet someone out there can make a better rendition of this than whatever I made. Also, I didn't give them button eyes because they sold their soul or something. I really didn't know what kind of eyes to give them, and I like to think that they use this to scare people away. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know anything about Sonic. Despite growing up with a lot of Sonic games because my sisters were addicted to it like soda, I never got into Sonic. I only know a bit of stuff like the main protagonist, antagonist, and secondary characters. I had a lot more fun with the character designs since I don't really know how to write a plot in this that makes sense with the universe. Coraline being a fox called to me. Something about her personality reminds me of a fox. For YB though, I couldn't really figure out what he would be, but I knew that he had to be some sort of hard shellback animal. While trying to think of what to have him as, Armadillo came out the most, so I stuck with that. Now for the Beldam, I decided to keep her more bug-like features and, hot take, seeing her original design gives me more of mantis vibes than a beetle or spider. There weren't many insect-like characters in the Sonic universe, so I decided to have her as one. I wanted to draw the neighbors so badly, but I couldn't figure out what Miss Spink and Forcible would be, so I only ended up drawing Mr. B. Well, if he trains mice in the original, he'd definitely be a mouse in this universe. My favorite, by far, is the cat. He fits really well since he is a cat in the original. I'm not sure why, but he gave me heavy shadow vibes, but not being edgy and more mysterious. I think it's the expression I gave him. The coloring was a bit iffy too. I liked the rest of the character's color palette, YB's the most. While hinting at his coat in the movie, I gave him some light stripes on his back. I'm not so sure about the Beldam's colors though. I could have done better, but I don't know what I could have done better with. Colors are not my forte for character designs, but I try my best. I wish I could have added some plot here, but I'll let the true Sonic fans decide that. They know the lore better than I do. I also decided to draw my persona as a Sonic character too. Doing character designs for them was pumping some creativity into my brain. Okay, I know the wheel didn't select it for me, but I can't resist. For the fan art I'll be doing is the one and only Kit Tarts. They're the most popular fan artists in the Coraline fan community. You've probably seen their work somewhere if you're a Coraline fan. The fan art I'll be making is their Monastery AU. I love this AU to death, which is unfortunate that it was dropped way much later. I had a hard time trying to figure out the angle I wanted to draw, but I decided to have a front view instead. I ended up rendering it a lot, even though I wanted to keep it simple and quick. With the rendering, the cross was the hardest since I'm not good at rendering shiny material. I wish I could have drawn the other characters in the AU, especially YB, but I don't know his color palette. I've also tried something I've never tried before. Being angle lighting. An upward angle of anything is my nightmare, but for lighting is something I can do. Not really much to say about this drawing, but I hope Kit will enjoy this fan art. Oh, that's a lot of art. Hopefully it was enjoyable for you, cause it sure was for me. Hey, I guess that did the trick. Drawing is fun for me again. Thanks for sticking it to the end. Maybe I could do more of this again sometime. How about we make a deal? If the video gets 30 likes, I'll do some more of this stuff. Hey, while you're at it, maybe you can explore more into the lore of the ideas I've given to you. I'd love to hear them all. For now, I guess this is the time we part. Au revoir!